afraid of the dark.
Hello, dear listeners. Today I present to you an incredible thriller with an incredible denouement. A young boy goes to school, starts to realize that there's something wrong with him. He's having nightmares, he's hearing voices. And this smell that follows him, where does it come from? All will be revealed at the end of this terrible story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your reactions and comments. Here we go. Sometimes things seem strange to me, sometimes even frightening. They scare me, and I feel reality slipping away from under my feet. The line between the jokes of my inflamed consciousness and reality is getting thinner. My future is emptiness, and my condition only worsens. Even early in the morning, when all I hear is the metallic squeak of the alarm clock, I have to wait for something to happen to make me realize that I'm still asleep. Billy, breakfast is on the table. My mom woke me up with a gentle voice, peeking into my room. She's not my biological mother, but she raised me and provided everything I needed. I was adopted as a baby, but that doesn't matter. I love her as my own. Yes, Mom, I replied sleepily, not even moving, trying to find the strength to get up. Another sleepless night has passed. Every half an hour I would wake up from another nightmare. I want to sleep, but I have to force myself to wake up. I hear the creak of the front door, light footsteps, my mom entering the room and sitting next to me on the bed. Get up, you bastard, or I'll gut you and throw your insides out the window for the stray dogs to feast on. My mom's voice sounded directly above me. A familiar feeling of irritation and fear ran through my body. I finally sat up in bed. I felt like there was a strange smell in the house, a scent that I almost smell every morning, but which spontaneously disappears, and I instantly forget about it. Mom, what are you saying? I asked, turning to her. Get up, get up. It's getting cold, she said tenderly, and left. And so it goes every time. I try to drive these thoughts out of my head, trying to fix everything somehow. I even tried psychotropic substances, but it's all pointless. Getting up from bed, getting dressed, I finally head to the kitchen. Noise, chatter, squeaks, the clatter of chairs, a math lesson. The teacher left the class for 5 minutes. I think every student knows what I'm talking about. And in the midst of all this madness, there I am, sitting, bowing my head, slowly massaging my temples. Sometimes through the monotonous mass of sounds, I distinctly hear things that can't be. Somewhere behind me there's the deafening roar of a chainsaw. I hear the familiar voice of a classmate shouting that he's going to slowly cut off the limbs of all his friends. Next to me is the sound of my classmate's nausea. I know it's not real, and the class continues as usual, but in my head, everything is different. Finally, the teacher returns and everything quiets down, everyone taking their seats. I can open my eyes. Take out your pens. Write down the new topic: multiplication and division of algebraic fractions. Write down the example from the board. Write it down. I said, stop whispering, you freaks. If you don't stop whispering right now, I'll break all the bones in your legs and make you crawl around the class until you die, the teacher shouts. Wait, what? I tore my gaze away from my notebook and looked up at the board. Maria Dmitrievna, as if nothing had happened, stood with her back to the class, writing an example on the board. It seems to me that everything is getting worse. Skipping over puddles and almost running, I hurried home. The lessons weren't over yet, but I couldn't stay in school. Pulling my hood over my head and putting on earphones, I tried to shield myself from the outside world. For that moment, when I barely lifted my eyes to avoid hitting something, there was silence between songs in my ears. I hear a low male voice next to me die. "You creature." Reflexively, I turned my gaze. The janitor was sweeping the street completely emotionlessly, paying no attention to me. Finally, I reached my familiar 5-story building, my entrance, the elevator, the door to my apartment. It's good that no one met me in the stairwell. I'm finally home. Mom's at work until late in the evening. Because of her schedule, we only see each other in the mornings. She doesn't know about my quirks, so much the better, I thought. My only entertainment lately has been watching the fish in the aquarium. There's nothing else left. I can't watch TV, I can't browse the internet, I can't even sit down and read a book. The letters always somehow arrange themselves so that a horrible thought pops into my head. Thin streams of stench reached my nose again. What's this? I got up from the chair and took a few steps, trying to find the source of the smell. Nothing. I don't feel anything else. Maybe it's another illusion. My brain really loves to play tricks on me. I sit back in the chair, not taking my eyes off the aquarium. "Honey, breakfast is on the table." My mom woke me up with a gentle voice, and I froze, expecting another surge of activity from my sick mind. Silence. "Honey, get up. It's getting cold." My mom was so gentle. I opened my eyes and saw her smiling as she went to the kitchen. I don't even remember the last time my morning started so well, without horrible words and deceit. Getting out of bed, I headed to the kitchen, where pancakes with jam were waiting for me. Mom makes them better than anyone. We chatted. At first I kept waiting for something horrible to happen, but nothing did, and I was able to relax completely. We haven't had such warm conversations in a long time. After taking a shower and getting dressed, I gathered my things and headed to school. "Bye, Mom," I shouted, already opening the front door. "See you soon, darling," she replied, being in another room. "I hope you die somewhere on the way, and your corpse will rot, lying in some pit," she added completely calmly. The disgusting smell was back in the air. I slammed the door shut and turned the key. Leaning against it with my back, I squatted down. The joy was short-lived. I can't bear this anymore, I just can't. Another lesson ended in 40 minutes, and the realization took over several times. The teacher started saying horrible things. "It's time for a break," I said to myself and walked along the corridor, trying not to listen to what was happening around me. Constant tension weighed on me, caused by the need to distinguish truth from illusion, which gave me a terrible headache. "You'll pay for everything now, you beast," some crazy part of me behind me screamed, imitating the teacher's voice. I don't even know why, but lazily and indifferently I turned at the sound. A guy, a senior student, ran around with completely crazy eyes, swinging a school chair, causing all the other students to steer clear of him. Is everything really that bad? Have I completely lost my mind? And now, the kids standing next to me are also backing away. A faint breeze from his swings reached my face, and I seemed to be staring blankly ahead, waiting for the next hallucination to end. He's getting really close now, so the scene will change soon, reflecting the true reality of what's happening. Come on, faster. The blow, darkness. A horrible, increasing pain in my right temple. brought me to my senses. What the hell? Where am I? My vision is blurred. I can't seem to focus. Definitely not home. Billy, can you hear me?" A pleasant female voice sounded. I managed to make out the woman standing in front of me in a white robe, a nurse. "I'll call the doctor. Just lie still," she said. Finally, my vision normalized and I was able to look around. Next to me, there were rows of empty beds, white walls. A drip stand was placed close to my bed. Damn, has my condition become so critical that they put me in the hospital? Hello, an elderly man entered the room, also dressed in a white robe. "Do you remember anything?" he asked. "I remember school, and then I started feeling unwell," I replied weakly, trying to be careful. I least of all wanted to be locked up in a psychiatric hospital. "You were hit on the head with a chair by some older schoolboy. Kids these days are completely out of their minds," the doctor said, examining me with a flashlight. "And what did you think? Did you have a bad dream? You miraculously survived. If he had hit slightly higher, you wouldn't be here," he added. I was beyond surprised. "Your parents are currently with your homeroom teacher at the police station. You need to rest and we'll sort everything out in the meantime," the doctor said, leaving the room. "Oh God, I need to call my mom. She'll be worried," I thought. "What time is it now?" I asked the nurse. "Relax, young man, you couldn't get out of school, so we sent someone to your home to notify your mom. Most likely she's already on her way here," the nurse reassured me. Without knocking, another person entered the room, apparently a clinic employee. It was clear that he was agitated. He asked the doctor to come out with him, and I was left alone in the room. I wonder what happened, I thought, regaining my senses. Despite the headache, I feel better than before. I just talked to the doctor and my ailment didn't manifest itself. Maybe the blow to the head somehow helped me. Maybe this nightmare is finally over. The door creaked, and a stranger entered the room. His panicked and frightened look was fixed on me. I felt that something was wrong, so keenly that I didn't even dare to ask who he was. My doctor entered the room again. There was no expression on his face. What's happening?" I finally managed to say. "Billy, what have you done?" the doctor said with a trembling voice. The unfamiliar man approached me, took handcuffs from behind his back, and handcuffed me to the hospital bed. No matter how much I asked, no one told me what was going on. All night, lying tied to the hospital bed, I couldn't close my eyes. I couldn't understand what had happened, what I could have done. Another doctor entered, silently, rudely pressing his fingers against my cheeks, causing me to open my mouth, and then he shoved something between my jaws, making me bite down. It was some kind of clay. He took an impression and left. Another stranger entered the room, apparently someone who had been monitoring me. The man nodded to him, and he left. The stranger approached my bed and tossed me a folder. With my free hand, I managed to open it. There were some papers inside. I began to read the text after the hospitalization of Billy Gallagher, a student at school No. 13, injured as a result of an attack by another student from the same school. Attempts were made by school staff to contact the victim's mother, with whom, according to documents, he resided. After several unsuccessful attempts, the school's deputy principal personally went to Billy's and his mother's place of residence. Attempts to reach the apartment also failed, and the deputy principal concluded that no one was home. As she was about to leave, she suddenly detected a foul odor coming from behind the door. The police and medics who arrived at the address broke down the door and entered the apartment. Sarah Gallagher, Billy Gallagher's mother, was found dead in the kitchen of the apartment. Preliminary estimates suggest that death occurred as a result of blood loss. The victim had a deep laceration in the neck area. There were also bite marks all over the body. Preliminary analysis indicated that death occurred approximately 2 weeks ago. After examination, it was found that the bite marks matched the bite of her son, Billy, therefore he is the prime suspect. But how? "You sick bastard," the stranger said. It was obvious that this was not a hallucination. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the papers. Looking down at my body, I saw my limbs trembling. A tear slid down my cheek, and I vomited on myself. And then darkness again, darkness from which I didn't even seek an escape. I wanted to stay in it forever. I'm in a juvenile detention center. It won't be long now, and when I turn 18, they'll transfer me somewhere else. Ironically, after the blow to my temple, I finally recovered, cured from false reality. But of course, no one believed me. The court deemed that I had intentionally killed my mother, and now I'm here. With its final blow, my illness managed to send me behind bars for a long time. But I don't regret being here, because this is where I belong, and I don't deserve to be free. I'm a sick bastard. For 3 weeks, waking up in the morning, deceived by my own consciousness, I went to the kitchen to eat, to consume the flesh of the person closest to me.